Hello, everyone. I am Shaurya Thapa, your host of the podcast Behind the Lens by Borrowing Tape. And today I am with David Moreau, the French writer and director behind the creatively original and creatively scary horror film simply called Other. Welcome, David, to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Shaurya.
And firstly, let me just tell you, David, I know you have been making horror for quite some time with movies like The Eye, Them, and my personal favorite, Mads. And like Mads, which came out last year, that made me like an instant admirer of your work. And that film was shot entirely in one take, and the one take style felt very organic to me. It didn't seem like a gimmick. And now we have your new film, Other, where you experiment visually yet again, because the film is shot in such a way that you don't see the face of any character except the heroine. So my first question to you, David, is that was this a deliberate choice? Like, what do you think was the purpose behind this unique framing of not showing faces?
The purpose was like I was trying to have the audience um, being as close as possible to the character. The fact that she has this past, like this something hidden from her past that's around her, that's somewhere locked in her mind and needs to go to and needs to spread out. Was for me the fact that she actually cannot see the faces around her because she's not able to see properly the reality around her was a reason for that. And the other reason was that as the beast that is around is actually not seen, and we will finally understand what it is at the end, and what it is. I hope that it's not what we think it will be. It was a way also to trick with the audience in order to have to to not seeing the character around, having those distorted face through the screens and all that. It's almost like we don't see them properly, probably, so that we see, when we have the gardener with a face like that and all that. So we saw deformity with something which is normal, and it's the main core and the subject of the movie. So it was one of the reason. And as you said in your question, very very smart question, thank you for that. Is I always also try to find some difficulties in writing a story, in making a story like at one take, or here not showing the faces, in order for me to get closer to the to the idea, to the core idea.
And were there any horror or non-horror films that inspired your script or your filming style for Other?
I think, as I said to a friend of mine, it's I'm not trying to make references, but probably. And when I saw the movie again, I thought, okay, this, and of course there is a director I really love, which is is David Lynch. I think he's is the effect he had on my whole life as a human being, and as a moviegoer, and probably as a filmmaker, was very very in the movie. I mean, like, Lost Highway, which is one of my favorite movie ever. In Lost Highway, you always see the face of the you don't know, you're not only seeing his face through camcorders and all that, but the mystery man is like, you have all this trick with video stuff that actually is, it's a video is like a deformed representation about reality. So probably Lost Highway and some of his movies, because also in The Elephant Man, the scene where you have all these drunk guys who is like putting a mirror on his deformity and laughing about him, which is for me one of the most unbearable scene in the in movie making, because I mean, like, I cannot see this scene. It's too effective, too sad, too strong, too violent. I mean, like, it's a wonderful scene, but you know, and the way that that is showing deformity, which is like, it's not him who's deformed. It's not John Merrick who's deformed. It's more like the way people are looking at him, which is deformed, and it's something was very it's something that was very strong for me.
And you mentioned David Lynch. One thing which I find similar between like your latest film, for example, Other, and between some David Lynch cinema, like Twin Peaks and all. What I find similar is that your horror is very slow burning. It focuses on atmosphere, and there can be like some jump scares here and there, and they're not like cheap jump scares, like because in Other as well, like I'm so invested visually with the heroine that sometimes when there were scares, they affected me way more than expected. So as a horror filmmaker yourself, what do you think is the secret to building a good scare, a good jump scare?
I think it's I think it's when you put your audience actively, when you make them active in the way that you don't see, you don't show too much, you just show, or you just with the sound help the audience to have their imagination work on what's behind the door, what do I hear, what is like that, and you have them like being part of the process to create a monster in their mind, and not only seeing it. I do think it's something that I find frightening or engaging, So as a I'm not saying that I'm a horror movie director, even if I did some of them, but I feel better as a director by not showing too much, and to have the audience being part of the creating process, with their own imagination, like when you're reading a book, and when you're the first horror movie I saw was Texas Chainsaw Massacre when I was 9, and my parents avoid me to see it, so I tried to see the movie through the people of the room, the people of the room, and I could not see a thing. So I put my ears like that, and I just saw the movie only by hearing it, and probably this the of course, when I saw it the first time, like for real, I was it's one of my favorite movies, so yeah, I was astonished, but it was not the same movie that I imagined. So probably it's what I'm trying to make every time, just not to see too much, and to use the sound to 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 to, to show without showing, show without showing.
That, that's a very interesting perspective, and I would also want to rewatch Texas Chainsaw Massacre through a whole now. My last question to you, David, is that how different was it working on Other as compared to your past films like Mads, The Eye, and them, like other genre films that you worked on, other horrors
Oh,
that you worked on? How was it different?
the fact that to have just a single face to show that I needed to work with the other actors, that it's tough when you hire an actor, you cast an actor, and you say, I'm going to show everything but not your face. It's going to be your voice, it's going to be your body, it's going to be, but not your face. At first, I mean, like, they knew it from the beginning, so it was not a surprise. I didn't say, "Oh yeah, do the movie," and then after one day, so it's like, "Oh, it's not. You don't see my face." So they knew that because it was already in the script. But but I I learned that it was very rich to to embody a character without avoiding yourself to show the face was very interesting. And even if my next movie, I don't know what it's going to be, but if it's the one I would love to, I will show faces again. Probably I will shoot the characters with more with another the face is not on the face is not everything, you know. And sometimes you feel like the faces of the actors are everything, but it's much more rich than that. So this is what I learned and what was very different on this one.
That's a pretty unique approach, David. And on that note, I'll end this interview. Thank you for your time, David. And Other
Thank you.
is a
Yeah.
perfect watch for this October because it's Halloween.
Yeah.
And Yeah, best of luck for your next film. And I'll be more than willing to see what happens. Like, how do you play with faces or no faces in your next film? Good luck, David. Thank you for your
Thank you
time.
so much. Yeah.
Yeah.